Can you hear me all right, Nemu?
Yes.
Then listen carefully. As I am flying around, I am spraying a highly concentrated anesthetic over this entire area. I do not know what effect it will have on this thing as far as its body goes, but during our last exchange, I measured the nerve density of its arrows. At this concentration, I am quite certain I can neutralize the arrows. However, a concentration this high will likely have a deleterious effect on me as well, which is unfortunate, but unavoidable in the circumstances. Nemu, your job is to inject that nerve coagulating agent directly into an arrow that has been neutralized. The nerve coagulating agent does not weaken nerve impulses by obstructing neural transmissions the way an anesthetic does. Instead, as its name implies, it coagulates neural transmissions, slowing them down until at last all the organs connected to the nervous system are frozen in the state they were in at the moment the agent reached them. In other words, once this agent has taken effect, eyes that are open cannot be shut, lips that are parted cannot be closed, and a contracted heart can no longer expand.
You might want to keep it down.
What are you doing?
Xiao Yun is my name. I hope we meet again. Perhaps on the field of battle. Master Gongsun Zong, what do you know of the man I was speaking to?
Liu Bei?
I hope we meet again. Perhaps on the field of battle. Master Gongsun Zong, what do you know of the man I was speaking to?
Liu Bei? He and I were students together. He was always quite gentle, but that's pretty much all he was.
Just gentle? No. There's something about him.
I'd be sorry. Sometimes I'd be helping my grandparents with their own TVs and stuff.
Thanks.
So it's not the only time that this happens. So I help my grandparents, get their TVs and stuff. I last like 2 weeks ago, I had to help my grandma with her iPad.
Yeah, well, I went over to my iPad and it was doing an update and it won't let me use my security code that I've had before. So it's like, what in the world is going on here? What in the wide world of sports? Now I can't find my. Wow, we are just having a great time.
I'm very sorry, Terrence.
It's my fault. Oh, I see what the thing is. It's on the light. Okay, so I've got to get a cord plugged in somewhere here where I can charge this stinking thing. Wow. There's just joy to the world going on here. I'm telling you.
Oh boy. It's the forces of nature, like the forces of nature are working against us.
It's been that kind of day.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go to the dentist, and so that was the most fun I could have had without dying. Let's see it.
Hey,
this works.
Take your time, man.
You gotta be kidding me.
It work?
No, it's not charging. Wow. All right, we're gonna go on a walk. Hey, Philip, I'm glad you're not heavy because I'm going to carry you around now.
that's fine. That's fine. Don't stress. I'm actually more upset with Zoom right now. That's the only thing I'm upset with.
Yeah.
Because Zoom was working against me.
Yeah, me too.
So it just can't give us a break.
Oh my goodness. Let us see what we can do if we do this. All right, you get out. Ugh. The things that old people do. Wait a minute. I don't know that I like that. So what you want to talk about?
Oh, well. Oh. Well, I guess we can while you're still holding your cord, I guess we can talk about you. We're here for you, man.
I'm just gonna do this. Yeah,
Do
here I
this, do
am with
this.
light fixtures all around
So
me. Here I am in the corner with Philip, the tech genius, along with me, tech savvy nostrils.
yeah.
Hi, Philip. How are
So
you?
I'm good. I'm good. That's everything's good now. Fully charged. Well, plugged up.
We're gonna see, huh?
So we're
How
plugged
much?
up. Zuma's finished. Zuma's done screwing with us. So I guess we can go ahead
Uh,
and get this thing underway.
yeah.
So it's nice to have you tonight, despite all the technical difficulties. My name is Phil. I'm host of the Conversation Podcast, and I got a special guest here tonight. But thing is, it's actually the evening for him because he's on the West Coast. Um, Introduce yourself. Who's Terrence Stone I'm speaking to this evening?
Um. Well, I'm a former on-camera actor, voiceover actor since mid '80s. Yeah. Um. Gosh, let's see. I've got a lovely wife, two kids. Have moved from LA to Kansas City, Missouri, just
Mm.
in this last year. Um, I'm the innkeeper for Hearthstone. Cho'Gall from World of Warcraft, which is a bunch of stuff going on right now for that storyline. Um, if you like Bleach, I'm Mayuri Kurotsuchi from Bleach. Um, I've done directing and voice acting in films, TV, anime, computer games, a little bit of everything. And then directed for about 12 years on all those kind of things too. So was a stuntman for a while and casting director for a while and talent manager for a while. And now I'm talking to Philip, which is the only thing.
Appreciate it, man. It's nice to be a man of many talents. Gotta have that stuff.
Yeah, it's an easy way to
So,
be tired.
so, well, it's now that that's over, I want to start with a little bit of an icebreaker. So,
Okay.
this is gonna be a fun icebreaker, okay?
Okay.
What I gotta ask you one question, okay? What ice cream did you try recently? Have you gone to any ice cream shops?
I haven't gone to an ice cream shop in a while, but uh, instead of coffee, I switched to, thanks to my wife, to butter pecan. And it was pretty good. And
Okay.
I can eat that. It's kind of boring and plain, but tastes good actually. So there you go.
Well, it still counts, okay? It still counts.
And
Listen, I went to listen 2 weeks ago. I went to Ben and Jerry's, so I tried some of that marshmallow cookie dough stuff they got in there, and I had a cone
yeah,
too. It was good stuff. Even one of the kids was looking at my ice cream, saying like, "Dad, can I have ice cream yet?" No, we haven't even had lunch yet. I said, "My bad, if my ice cream distracted him." So
yeah, but you liked it, didn't you?
I did, and plus it was Friday. Why not go out on a Friday?
Yep, yep. You got to do what you enjoy, and if you got kids, then got to make sure they're having fun too. Good for you. Good day.
Yeah, they're gonna ask for that stuff. And lately they're building Cold Stone Creamery close to my house.
Oh, Cold Stone Creamery was so good. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a thing they
they
have here in the Midwest called Brahms, which since I've been in this area, it's like, oh, that's good stuff too. Yeah, but
ooh.
Cold Stone, oh man, you can't hardly go wrong with that.
No,
That's
I
just
cannot. As soon as they finish building it, I'm gonna head there first.
oh, there you go. And if it's close, then that's even better because then you don't really need a lot of excuses. You was, oh, I just driving by and my car turned in. What? I guess I better order something, or these people get mad at me for being in the lane. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
man. Oh man. But I can't wait to try. I can't wait till that store opens. So I'll be excited to try that places. And they're also opening Cinnabon and Carville at that area too.
Cinnabon's not fair. I mean, that's just decadence. That's not fair. You might as well. just take it and just shoot it straight into your veins because it's just, oh my God, it's so good. It's not fair.
Yes, it is. We finally get cinnamon rolls close to my house. So
Good
I
for
don't know
you.
which one I don't know which one to try first, but I'll figure it out when they finish it.
Whichever they finish first, that's the one you visit first.
That's the one I'm going to finish first.
Here you go.
So, well, now that the ice is broken, let's get into it.
Yeah,
I know technical difficulties kept us going, but I have
yeah.
over 20 questions and I divide them up into sections so we can keep track.
Okay.
So, let's start with section one, the origin story and journey. Now, based on everything you told me when you introduced yourself, you had such a long and diverse career. Now,
Oh yeah.
what was the exact moment you realized voice acting wasn't just a passion, but your path?
Um, I actually was never thinking that I would be a voice actor. I started out originally as a singer, and then started doing commercials and jingles and things like that, and then started doing commercials. And I was a DJ for about a year and a half, and you do inside in house they call it commercials for different clients that come in and want you to do them there, and started doing a lot of different characters. The first time I really got excited about voiceover work was I was recording a jingle in one studio, and then the studio next to it, um, the director of that knew the director of my spot. And so we had a little break, and he came in to talk to him. Now, when you're in a recording booth, you don't hear, as the talent, you don't hear what's going on in the sound booth, but they hear everything that's going on in the recording booth. So I didn't hear them talking. I just saw they were talking. So I was just kind of passing time. And I was singing different things. And then just to keep my voice warmed up and stuff, I started doing a lot of different character voices, high pitch, low pitch, in between. And this other director heard me doing that. And he said, "Who's that?" And he said, "Who I was." And he said, "When he finishes here, have him come next door and talk to me." So I went next door and talked to him, and he was doing a series of 10 radio commercials that he wanted to have it like a call in radio show where one actor did all the voices of everybody. So I was the DJ, which worked because I had been a DJ at the time. But then all the people that called in, all these different characters and different types and accents and even a little kid. Hi, I would like to find out if it would be like a little girl or something, or it could be like, "Yeah, I want to know what's going on with this car thing you got going on down here," and then it could be, "I was just wondering if you could tell me perhaps what's going on." So all these different characters that kept calling in, and so I got used to doing a lot of different stuff. So because of that, I had what they call a demo reel. And so when I came out to California, it was in like '86, and anime was just getting started up in the United States, pretty good. And computer games were going from being sort of blocky, stick figure looking things to starting to really have good graphics. And there was a group of about 25 or 30 of us out there that in LA that started, we'd come on board to do anime things and computer games and stuff because originally they didn't pay very much. And so a lot of your more established actors and Hanna-Barbera and Disney and Warner Brothers and all this stuff, they go, "I'm not working for that. I'm not working on some Japanese cartoon. No, get out of here. Computer games are dumb." And so that left a grouping of us to do a lot of the early work, like Digimon, Pokemon, things like that. The first big role I had was in a computer game called Boogerman. So it's like, okay, whatever. Um, you go in, and I did a creature thing. I did a creature thing where you heard more than one voice. And so they hired me for that, and then they had me come in for 4 days, for 4 hours, and I thought, that's a lot of dialogue. It turned out they wanted me to do all the aliens. So by that weekend, my voice was dead. But anyway, I had a demo reel. When you started back then, you had to have something that you could show to directors or casting people before they'd really pay much attention to you. And so I did, and I used that, and all of a sudden they started sending me out. An agency signed me, and I was lucky enough to kind of stumble into it. And I, being able to do almost any accent and a 4 octave range vocally, I could do little creatures, monsters, whatever. And so I started doing a lot of like supporting work, and then I started landing some leads and things like a computer game called Dynasty Warriors, which was a big popular one back then, and um, Beautiful Joe, and Magic Knight's Ray Earth was an anime thing. And so it just, every time you do some work, then that translates into people telling other people about you, or you have that much more you can put on your demo reel, and you just get out there and start beating the streets and start trying. Well, that was a long answer.
No, I want you to preach, man. I want you to preach.
And then what happened?
But seriously,
Yes.
they had a game like book. They had a game named Booker Man. That's a thing.
It was pretty stupid. Yeah, it was pretty stupid. It's when they were first starting to transition over to the graphics started getting better, but the storylines were still really stupid. So yeah.
I might have to look into that at a later scene and see what that's all about. But yes,
Yeah.
those early stages, like the way things are right now, we're in 2026. Technology has evolved so much. Like, because I had a few discussions before, and people, back then when social media wasn't a thing, you had stuff like message boards and whatnot. YouTube, people be commenting on YouTube. That was the thing too. Listen, like I've seen so many people these days who like to revert back to retro. Like I saw this Instagram girl who has like a retro TV, and it's like pink and has Disney on it, it's Minnie Mouse, all that stuff. And she was playing like old cartoon intros on that retro TV. And she also has like video cassettes. Like when I went to a thrift shop in my hometown, in the
Yeah.
back, they have like old video cassettes. And I was like, these are becoming very expensive now.
Video cassettes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Oh my gosh. And uh, your demos, you'd put it on a cassette, send them in, or just like with headshots or stuff, you'd send them actually in, and there was a department that they collect all that stuff in, and somebody, 2 or 3 people were listening to them and picking and choosing. Oh my gosh, it's so much easier now. When I've been doing casting on projects, as a casting director, you get so many blocks of submissions from people that before never had a chance to send an audition in, because you had to, if you didn't have an agent, you didn't even hear about the audition. And then once you had to go to an actual studio to lay an audition down, or they would have a studio. The auditions would be held there by the production company, and you'd come in, which was kind of cool in the old days, because you'd come in and you'd go a little early, and there'd be 4 or 5 voiceover people in the lobby area there, and you'd sign in, you sit down, you take your sides, you'd look at them, but you get a chance to see other voiceover people, or people you haven't seen in a while, or friends. And you, once COVID hit, then of course all that stopped, and hardly for a while there did you do any ensemble type recording. There are a lot of times that we used to have 4 or 5 people in the same room at different microphones, where we could either see each other out of our peripheral vision, or we could actually look across at other characters. And so when we deliver lines with them, you actually could see them. And for so long now, it's, you go in the studio, you're by yourself, and you're putting your headphones on, and you're putting your stuff down. And if you're lucky, you get to hear what the other characters you're talking to have recorded. But a lot of times, even if they've laid their voice down, you don't get to hear it. You just interpret it, and the director gives you hints of which way to go. And usually you're giving what they call a series of 3. Like if you give me a line, and the line's supposed to be, I thought we were never going to connect on this computer. So they give the cue, beep, 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 and you go on the 4th beat, okay, the silent beat in your headphones. And so I would go, I thought we were never going to connect on this computer thing tonight. I thought we were never going to connect on this computer thing tonight. I thought we were never going to connect on this computer thing tonight.
Yeah.
So it's the same lines, but three different ways to deliver it. And one of the three usually is going to be what they're looking for. And if not, they'll ask you to go again and they'll give you a little bit of notes. But that's kind of the way it is now. Um, you don't get to really interact that much with the other actors. And if you're really lucky, you get to hear their lines in your headphones and you can then respond. But rarely.
Oh yes, yes. There's all the different types of things. How y'all did things back in the day. Y'all had to use very because I know. I'm trying to guide my thoughts here. Because I know, like, every type of project y'all do, there's like some different types of tactics y'all have to do to make it come to fruition.
Mhm.
Especially if you want to catch the attentions of people who's going to be tuning into like that movie or TV show or music video, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So there's also that. Like, what kind of secret ingredient do we want to give these guys out here?
Yeah. What's like when you go in to get your create new characters, the artist has drawn what that character looks like, and usually they'll put it up on the screen or it's off to the side on like a two or three characters there. And so you get to see the artwork. They've drawn the character or the creature or whatever it is. And they'll say, well, we'd like it to be high register, or we'd like it to be a lower register, or whatever. So they give you some hints, but then you have to create from just how you interpret or what you think that should sound like. And as a voice actor, it's harder than being like an on camera actor. An on camera actor, you've got wardrobe, you've got lighting, you've got makeup, you've got, special effects, you've got all that kind of stuff. But with a voice actor, all you've got is your voice. And if you don't sell it, then no matter what the artwork is, if the voice just doesn't seem to match it, then it just doesn't work. And so you have to give it life and believe that you are whatever that is. Uh, but you have to be careful not to be too low your energy, because you always have to be a little more than you think it should be when you're doing voiceover stuff, um, animated stuff especially, because it has to have that life so that it makes the artwork seem to embody the spirit of whatever creature you're doing or person you're doing or whatever. Um, Other than that, I used to get in trouble all the time when I was in school for making noises or mimicking sounds or doing accents or creatures or whatever in class. And now all that stuff that I got in trouble for is exactly what I'm utilizing to do voice work, because you're always playing, you're always creating, you're messing with something, or you throw a sound out and you go, oh, well, that was an interesting placement. You play with it a little bit more until you kind of can replicate it anytime you want. And then if you really like it, then you record it, give it like a little name or something, and some way to lock that in. And when you go in for an audition, or you have a character part, there's sometimes I have used and it has been chosen to be for that character, something I came up with, 5 or 6 years before. And so you never know. Always be playing, always be experimenting, and don't notice people looking at you funny because they're going to. So just
Well,
keep
shoot,
on.
I'm learning. Well, hey, I'm learning a lot tonight, so I'm gonna keep that in my head.
Some of those people that you look at funny and walk away from, they may just be rehearsing. You never know. They're not completely crazy, maybe.
Gotcha. I understand. Let's go to the next one. Before we get started, it says, you came from Ireland, if I got this correct, right?
I am.
Coming. All
Very,
right.
yeah, my early years, I was there. My mother was gone when I was 2, and so,
Um,
and my father was still in college and developing his career, and I was lucky enough to have very loving, caring grandparents, both his and my mother's. parents, and so the Irish part is from my mother's side.
Gotcha.
So they helped, both sets kind of helped raise me until I was like 6 or 7. So I picked up a
Gotcha.
lot of that. I would, been over there. I go over there periodically. Last time I was over there was about 5 years ago. Um, I now only have like second or third cousins that still live there. A lot of them that I used to know have all moved to the United States in the last 10, 15 years. So it's like, hey, wait a minute. I was supposed to be able to come over and stay with you guys.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, there's that. And a lot of the characters I do, I'm doing an Irish character. I just did one for France, believe it or not, where I played a character called Gerdel. And he's a dwarf, but he's not Scottish dwarf. He's an Irish dwarf, and but he's like overseeing a bunch of fist fights and brawls and stuff like that. But I picked that up from listening to my grandparents talk and things like that. And then in Hearthstone, of course, I'm a Scottish dwarf, which is even harder to understand. But it's like, welcome, welcome, come into my inn. Put your feet up by the fire. It's good to see you. So
Okay.
I'm using UK stuff all the time.
All right. Well, shoot, let's get into that part. That sounds exciting. So coming from Ireland and building a career in the U.S. Now, what challenges did you face breaking into the industry?
Um, well, being a singer, that actually got me in. I started professionally at like age 14. And so, and playing in like pubs, bars, restaurants, whatever you want to call them. And then at civic, you know, uh, I don't know what you call it, just singing around the different locations. And so that got me into performing and being in front of people. And then in high school, I started doing plays and things like that, and all of a sudden the acting bug kicked in. So it's like, oh, okay. But I actually um, had never planned or even thought about doing a voiceover career, because when I was coming up and first getting into it, voiceover, other than like at Hanna-Barbera or Warner Brothers or Universal, where they had those cartoons there, voiceover was considered like an announcer or a commercial voice or things like that, or books on tape, or more straight natural. Or they used to do radio plays, like the Gunsmoke was originally a radio play and then it turned into a TV show. But until about the mid 80s or so, when we started having anime and then we started having computer games that became pretty good, there wasn't a lot of other outlets unless you went through the studio system, unless you, or the networking system. You worked your way up, and it was hard. Um, so I kind of fell into it because a lot of what they needed just happened to be a lot of stuff that I could do. And if you do a good job on your first, paid job or so, then those casting people and those directors and other voice talents, when they go do another job, they talk about what they just worked on, and they pass the word around on who was good, who was fun to work with, who was dependable, whatever. You become a team player, and casting directors, they know you can do a lot of things, and that you'll show up and you'll be on time, and you'll work hard. You won't be goofing around. You don't think you're all that. You just go in and you work hard and you make it fun. Then that word starts to get around, and then other people go, oh, okay, well, I'm looking for somebody that does a voice like that. Find that person and call his agent and have him come in. And it's like you watch commercials on TV, and you'll see a guy or a girl and they do a prominent commercial. Well, if you watch, within the next like 3 to 4 months, you'll also start seeing them in one or two other commercials. Because what happens in casting, they go, oh, I like that spot. That person did a good job on that. bring them in for blah, blah, blah. And so work begets work begets work. But they're spending a lot of money on every role that they hire you in for. And when they cast you, they want, part of getting cast is you have made them feel comfortable with giving you the money that they have for that role, trusting you to go in and do it. And when you go in and you deliver and they know they can depend on you, then that gets around and other people take a chance, because nobody wants to be the first one to take a chance on a new talent. Actor, voice actor, singer, doesn't matter. Nobody wants to be the first one to take that chance. But when someone else has and it's been successful, then they go, oh, yeah, let's have them in. Oh, yeah, bring them over. And it starts to snowball. And, you know, show up, do a good job, be a team player, make it fun, and that'll just get your career going and sustain a lot of it. Now, when you get there, better have the talent too, but the other stuff gives you longevity for your career, makes it continue to happen. It didn't take long for you to be a pain in the rear end before that gets around too. Good news always travels fast, but bad news will always outrun it. So you want whoever you work with to be talking good about you when they go to the next job, or pass it on, refer you to other people. That voiceover community, when we first started in the 80s and then the early 90s, a lot of times I'd go do a job and I'd say, hey, if you're looking for somebody that does blah, 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 there's a guy that I just worked with who's really good. His name's Philip. And you ought to call him in at least on your next auditions because he's really good. Well, that might get you in because a couple of us have referred you or mentioned your name compared to you just being a name that shows up on a sheet somewhere. I'm going to shut up now.
You're good. Good. Listen, this is what I be telling people too. Like, when you go do new things, you just got to be ready for it. Because, and some of the previous voice actors I talked to on here, they told me that you just gotta be ready for rejection, any
Yeah.
rejections. Not everything is gonna be peaches and cream every day. Like,
Usually not in the entertainment.
yeah. And the one thing, you can just like people can refer to you all they can, but they wanted to see what your resume looks like, what you've done. Like, if I'm going to go somewhere and I get applied to any jobs, I want to make sure I want to make sure I have my life's work to back it up. If I just say, hey, I want to do this, and here's my thing, and I don't have anything to show for it, what
Yeah.
do I have to show for it? It's not going to be as much to be convincing to them as to be like, they're not going to take me seriously. And sometimes you just gotta walk before you can run. Like people just like are so desperate to run towards the end and not just slow down, just take those easy baby steps.
Yeah. The worst thing we want to hear when I do casting or directing, we don't want somebody coming in and going, well, what's your specialty? Oh, I can do anything. I do everything. That's not what we want to hear.
Hmm.
If I'm casting 4 characters, then when I'm sending out information to agents for them to then give to their talent, I'm saying basically it's a grocery list. For this role, I need an apple. For this role, I need an orange. For this role, I need a banana. For this role, I need cantaloupe, whatever. And so, this is just using as an example,
No.
but
That's fine. We need those
if I'm an
examples.
agent and I send them an orange for an apple roll, that doesn't work because the orange is trying to do apple stuff, and apples are going to always do apple better than oranges can. It's like my UK, my accent for Irish or for English or for Scottish is as good as any of the ones that are from there naturally full. But if I've not been there in a while and I haven't kind of steeped myself in the slang vernacular or the most popular sayings or way to say things, and I go in for an audition and 3 other people come in that are actually from there, that's what they are 100%. Well, just because I can do it doesn't mean I am going to be better than the ones who that's what they really do. So sometimes you can go in and just because you can do it doesn't mean that you should, because you're going to never put yourself at a disadvantage. You know, if you know, it's like Philip walks up and they say, okay, in this role, if you get this, you need to ride a horse. And Philip goes, yeah, I ride horses, sure. Yeah, you bet. I'm not a problem. And you may not have ever sat on a horse before. While you, if you got hired, could go and learn, depending on how much time you've got, other people that are going to come in for that same role own horses. They are riders. And even just asking questions, it's going to be obvious they really know it, and you kind of do, or you're lying, you know. So never put yourself in that situation where you're up against the real thing, because your chances then of succeeding are really, really small. And the no's, about 8 or 9 times out of 10, it's going to be no. Um, Especially when you're establishing your career early on. But you have to go, every no puts me one step closer to that yes. And so persevere, persevere. If you don't keep going forward, then your journey is ended. You just keep going forward, you know. And you learn every time you do an audition or you do a job, an audition especially, you're learning from that. Um, but the main thing is, I always tell people when I used to be an agent, anytime you, as an actor, a voiceover actor, anything, get a chance to get in front of someone who has a chance to hire you or can hire you, you go on that audition no matter what. If they've decided they want to see you or hear you, then you go, because you may not be right for that project, but now they've seen you. If they're a successful casting house or studio or whatever, they've got several projects going on at the same time. You may not be right for this one, but you may be perfect for that one. And they hear you and they go, ah, we used to have what they called a file 13, where we go, man, Philip's really good, but he's not right for any of these. But there's stuff he's going to be good for. Let's put him over here. And anytime we've got anything that he'd be right for, let's just include him and bring him in. And so, that's the thing, is when you get in front of the people that could hire you, because you never know. I once had a job where they called me in based on an audition that I'd done 10 years before, but they hadn't forgotten me. And it just so happened I turned out to be just right for the thing. You know, they remembered. Well, they wouldn't have remembered if I hadn't gone in for that audition that I didn't get. I got a job once where I was hired, and then they called back and said, well, actually, the director loves you, but the producer wants to go a different way. So we're going to go a different way. So now I'm not hired. And then I get a call the next day. Well, they talked about it and you're hired again. And then the night before, the morning to show up and shoot the thing, I got a call again. They decided to go the other way. So I was like, what? And even though it was a good job, it was a national, and would have made a lot of money, but I didn't get it. And that's just the way it happens sometimes. You never know why. I finally found out it's because they wanted to do an English version of the part, and then they wanted to have Spanish also. And my Spanish was not strong enough compared to this other guy that they hired, who didn't have the same look and didn't do the English as well, but he nailed the Spanish where I was a little weak. So there was perfect reason why I didn't get it. You never know.
Yeah. And like, if something doesn't come, I tell people, hey, it'll come when the time is right.
Yeah. Just be ready, because once you get in that door and you get hired, be ready to deliver. Because if you go in and you blow it, wow, and it may be a long time for you getting that door again.
Yeah, prepare and also do research.
Got to. Yes. Yeah. It never hurts to know or be over prepared. It's never good when you're underprepared. It's like when you used to read for auditions, and you'd have what they call the sides, pieces of paper that had the lines that you were going to say and the scene you were going to do. That may be 2 sheets of paper, 1, you never know, 3. Even if you've got it memorized, which you should try to have it, memorized. Not only your lines, but learn what the other lines are too. Switch at least once when you're learning it and say the other character's lines, because then it makes you understand more what they're saying to you instead of you just listening for it's my turn to speak. Um, and you go in and you've got it memorized, but you keep the sheets in front of you, and every now and then you look at them whether you need to or not. Because if you don't, then the casting person goes, "Oh, they're not even using their sides. Oh, so this is their prepared performance. This is what we expect to see if we hired them. This is their best work." And no, you don't want them to think that. You want them to think, "I'm doing a really good job, barely prepared here, you know, still working with the sides, but I'm working on it." And then they'll have you back, or they know that when you get on the set and you got more time, whatever. But you always make it look like you're continuing to work and be prepared. What if you did actually forget what that next line is? You can look down and there it is. Having that safety valve there and knowing you can use it makes you more relaxed and able to focus on the other stuff, because you're not going to panic. Oh, what's the next line? So there you go.
Exactly, man. Well, now that we're done with that, I guess we can move on to the next section, iconic roles and performances.
Ah,
So now, just give you a heads up. I have started watching Bleach for real since last year, so I'm
ah,
still falling behind on a few episodes. Okay, so but I did get to the part where they did the rescue mission part. Now,
mhm.
your portrayal of Mayuri Kurotsuchi is unforgettable. Now, how did you tap into such a complex and unsettling character?
Well, when they had the auditions for him, um, he had such an odd look, and he changes his look a lot, and he's very cerebral. He's not one of the really best fighters as far as power and stuff, but he uses technique and he uses subtleties and he uses trickery, and so he's analytical. And so the first thing I did was I decided to make the voice very different. And so I gave him what we call an Atlantic accent. He's not British. He's not, anywhere America. He's sort of like in the early years of the country, British people would come over, and after being in America for a while, they'd start to lose their English accent, and that's called an Atlantic accent because it's Atlantic Ocean. You started to lose it. And I also let him enunciate very clearly. Um, and so, if I'm telling you something, then I'm very careful about how I explain it to you. And I use highs and lows, which gives me more emotional range, because you never know. I might decide to not kill you, to take you home and experiment on you and find out what is going on. So I also then would slip in and out some harmonize. It's called harmonizing your voice, where you have two or three different tones, and I'm not warmed up right now, or you hear three, but letting it come in and out. So that established that part. Then the writing has just always been pretty good. My guy, a lot of uh, the Thousand Year Blood War. When I'm not heavily involved in episodes, I'm like kind of at the beginning or at the end, and I explain things by what I'm saying so that the audience can understand what in the world is going on and why. And so I do it like I'm either talking out loud or I'm going, "Oh, isn't that interesting? How they're doing that? I don't think, and you kind of help move the storyline along." But outside of that, he's very trickery. He thinks in advance. Um, Hobbits is tricksy, but Mayuri is more so. And I almost killed Ichigo one time. I've almost killed a couple of others. I've almost recently. If you Have you seen any of the Thousand Year Blood War yet?
I saw a few clips. You were
Uh,
getting
yeah.
oof.
In the third season, which we have one more season left to record, I have a 2 episode arc where I have a massive, nasty fight that kills my assistant, and she sacrifices herself to save me, and then I almost die. and it's just nasty fight for 2 episodes, just me and this creature that I'm fighting. And so sometimes you get some really good meat and you get some really good stuff to do. Um, did I answer your question on
You
what you're
know, you
about?
did. You did. I like it. I like
Okay,
it.
all right.
So, again, I let you guys preach.
Yay and verily.
But yes, I've seen a few episodes with that character. I was trying to see what this guy's deal is, and he was
Yeah,
trying to kill the others. Pretty much, he's like the villain for. I forgot the person who was in that episode who was playing as the good guy, and then he betrayed the Soul Society. I'll have to go back and watch the episodes when I get back to it. Lately, I've been trying to watch different anime stuff lately, so I'm
yeah.
trying to get back
Well,
into
that's
the swing
good.
of things.
It makes you well rounded in many different things, and that's the best way you should be. That's
Mm-hmm.
good. Good
Yeah,
job, kiddo.
I'm trying to, and also lately I've been watching stuff. I know when I was a kid in high school and everything, I was just mostly in for the entertainment. But now these days, I'm getting to a age where I'm just like, I'm looking for any context clues I might be missing on the show.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and I do try to find a lot of context clues.
yeah, yeah. There you go. Good for you. Because a lot of them just watch the entertainment and they don't really try to understand what the whole thing is. And then you've got the others that, man, they are on it, every little nuance, and they're good at figuring it out. And those are really good fans out there that are hardcore. They've kept anime going and kept it alive. And thank you, fans.
Thank you, fans. So, but now that knowing that, let's continue with this guy. Oh well, you get it. When you approach a character, do you start with the voice, the psychology, or something else entirely?
Um, well, as I said, for voice work, usually you get a picture of what the voice is you're trying to match up to what the being is. It could be a little creature. I mean, one time they gave me a picture of a treasure chest that comes alive, so I'm having to be a, a chest full of coins that now speaks. So it's like, okay. So sometimes you have to kind of stretch it, but you see whether is it a small creature, is it more of a docile, cute creature, or is it a more nasty little vicious thing? What is it about it that makes it different than any other creature that they've come up with? And then a lot of times they come in with little ideas. Like I said before, they go, we want this to be a high register, we want this to be low and gravelly. Sometimes they'll give you if it's like orcs, most of us that do this have done orcs or goblins if we have the range, or uh, fish creatures or whatever, dragons, you have to get down, you have to get way down there for bigger monster creatures. And then sometimes you need more. And sometimes you're very small.
Hmm.
So you never know what you're doing. It's where you're going to go. And then you just you play with it. The director is usually there, and whoever created it, either the artist or a lot of times the person who's written the dialogue for it, based on what the creature is that they've created, and they give you hints. Um, or a lot of times they just say, "Take a look, give it a little bit, and then when you're ready, give us what comes to your mind." And you'll throw some things out there, and they'll either go, "Oh, okay, yeah, I like that. Let's build on it more. Let's make it a little more gravelly, or let's make it a little clearer, or can you make it seem heavier or lighter?" And you just work together as a creative little nucleus until you find what everybody, when they hear that seems to fit what that creature looks like. If you're doing a group of creatures that are all the same, well, they may have samples that some other voice actor has done that they'll play in your headphones so you can hear, oh, okay, so this is how this has been established, and we're trying to match something similar to that. Okay, that gives me a guide to go on. And you just make sure you give it little tweaks or little changes that don't sound exactly like what you just heard, but sounds similar enough that you go, oh, yeah, those are rodent creatures. Oh, okay, those are, whatever. And every time the player hears that, now that little thing sticks out and they go, oh, that's a so and so. Oh, yeah, that's what they sound like. And it's discovery, play and discovery until you find what it is that works. And then once you have found what everyone likes, and they say, well, can you sustain that? And you realize, yes, I can keep that going without tearing my voice up or something for a couple of hours. Then they use that as your guide thing, or as your select. And as you're doing the creature, if you start to lose it, or you think, oh, I'm not sure I'm staying on what we created, they play that for you in your headphones again. So you go, oh, okay, yeah, that's what I was doing. All right, okay. And then if you go away, like there's some creatures that I've done, and then they have another expansion or another release of that game, and then they have another one later, and they're bringing that character back or that creature back, and they bring me in. They go, okay, we're doing more stuff for this creature. And if you don't remember necessarily what you did, then they just play your voice sample for you, and you go, ah, there it is. Yep, okay.
Okay. Yeah, and if I can add on to that, and this goes back to the whole researching thing. Like, you have these characters who come in when every time a new show comes out, and I know some people would like to know what this character's all about. And listen, sometime in today's world, y'all don't have a chance to do research, and y'all just have to wing it when y'all get to the studio.
Mhm.
But y'all sometimes have to figure out, what's this guy's backstory? Because every character you see on screen, they've been through some sort of like origin,
Yeah.
tragedy example. So sometimes we have to think about, okay, this guy he's having some kind of like, he's went through this tragic situation that, for example, that happened with his wife or something, or he was bullied when he was a kid. Like, now, how can I put my personality into this character now that I know what
Yeah.
this guy's deal is?
Yeah. Well, the way you have to approach, whether it's on camera or voice or whatever, stage, whatever, is the first thing you have to do is go, all right, I am me. That's the best thing I do. If
Hmm.
I've been hired to do this role, then what I'm bringing to it is what I do. So nobody does you like you. So bring that. And you look at it and you go, all right, no matter what the circumstances are, it's just me in those circumstances. And how would that make me feel? How would I adjust to that or deal with it or whatever? And then the writing, and if you're on camera, the wardrobe. If it's voiceover, you look at the artwork, the way it's been drawn, because they give you hints. And you go, all right, so he's got a limp, or he's got, a very small nose. So maybe he's more nasally. Maybe he's more nasally. Yeah. And you look at it and you start to then give yourself the characteristics. But when you're acting it out, it's always you in those circumstances, and everything else is just stuff that goes along with that creature. But if you're going to play it true, you have to say, I am this whatever, and this has happened, and it affects me like this. And you have to bring reality to that, or else it doesn't ring true, it rings false. And the audience, especially voice work, they hear it and they can tell.
Right.
And so you have to embody whatever it is. You have to bring reality to it, especially in voice work. It's got to really be there to a point.
Right. They like, and I will say this, all these stories will tell like, you know, these stories we watch on the screen, they teach us like really important life experiences. Like, I've seen it, trust me.
Writing
I've
will
seen
well.
so I've seen so many films that teach us a lot. Same thing with like Pixar and all that stuff. Even in anime shows and like stuff like Wuthering with You. I watched Wuthering with You 10 times. It's a really amazing movie. They have those types of life situations where we want to be something that we're not. Other things like, I want to do so much more, but you've done so much you could in one day. You don't want to overexert yourself. If you see where I'm going with all this, just trying to make
Yeah.
sure I word this correctly. So yeah, like put your like own life experiences into this story so people can understand, okay, now I understand what these guys are going through, and I gotta respect the story that they're telling.
Yeah, yeah, but you bring a little bit of yourself too, which makes it ring true. And then anybody else who's been through that or has those tendencies or has dealt with someone who is, interacting with the character you're creating, they see that in what, or they hear that in what your performance is, and it rings true for them. Um, but more than anything else, you have to be true to it yourself, because if you don't believe it, then they're not going to believe it. So you have to really believe it yourself, or you have nothing that you're putting forth. You have nothing that you're sharing or creating, because it's all make believe. And in voice work, especially make believe, you pretty much you hear it pretty clearly, and pretty quickly, especially if it's a really good role or a big role, because you can't sustain the the emptiness of just a shell of a performance. You have to bring something to it, or it won't sustain over many episodes. Or if you're a lead in something, people are going to go, yeah, but it's weak, or yeah, I didn't believe that. I didn't buy that. Whatever.
Yeah.
And you want them
And
to get involved in the storyline and in what's happening.
yeah. And I've been saying this too, like it's it's not voice acting is not, it's, trust me, it may look like, listen, to some of the fans, it may look easy to them,
Yeah.
but it's not easy at all, because you really have to spend the time and hours to really understand what the story is about, who the character is, and how, because I guarantee you all these people who are main characters in Bleach, Ichigo, Goku, Deku, My Hero, those guys are big people, Justin Bryan, Sean Shamil, John Young Bosch. Those are people who understood their main characters and how they managed to become pretty much iconic icons now. So, like, you taking up the main in role of a show is, it's a huge responsibility. It does not come easy at all.
No. Now, when it's a main role or a leading role, you get a lot of help from the writers and the creators. And for anime, we get a little extra help because it's recorded first in Japanese. So even though their performances are different than ours, they're more not theatrical, but they have they're a little bigger than life a lot of times. Um, we get it in the U.S. Well, we get to hear how they've already delivered those lines. Yes, it's been translated, and yes, we know what they're saying, but and we're having to match their flaps. But we get to hear the emotion or this what's going on in their voice, which helps us a lot. So any good performance by a English speaking dubber, a lot of times you got to give credit to the original Japanese actor that has paved the way by kind of plowing that field first, developing the way that even though we may do a different nuance or a color or whatever, we're still staying true to what that has been created as. And in leads, you've got the writing, you've got, what you see, but they make that role or roles, they make it come alive with what they bring too. And so if you get a character that is well written and then the actor brings truth to it and strength and brings the speciality that that person as a voiceover actor embodies in that character, then that's where you really get a strong developed character that can sustain for season after season after season, and the fans, they respond to that and they love that.
Exactly. If it's not, let's see, if it's not like perfect, like if y'all didn't spend hours in the kitchen trying to make the perfect meal, it's not going to be exquisite.
Yeah, and sometimes if you do many seasons, then the actor, the voice actor, and all that kind of stuff, you're growing in the role too as you do it longer, and you're bringing things from your life and your experience into the character. And then sometimes the writers, if it's an original or it's well, even if it's dub, because we can do nuances that give it different colors than maybe it originally had. But we have to embody that. We have to bring something to it, or anybody'd be doing it, you know.
Right. So, man, shoot, man, I'm saying some really, so I'm seeing some really, we're both saying some really inspiring stuff here. I didn't know I had that much to say about that part.
Look at you.
I just do the best I can here.
Well, there you go. You succeed.
So, next question, then we'll be out of this section. Now this one's going to be important. Okay, now what's the most emotionally or mentally challenging role you've ever taken on?
Hmm. Well, there was an anime early on called Magic Knight's Ray Earth, and I played a
Okay.
character named Fario, and it was really mostly three female leads, but I was the main hero guy. And I halfway through the season, I fall in love with one of the girls, and we start to do a thing, and then towards the last season, it falls apart and it doesn't happen. And the last couple of episodes, he really just kind of falls apart when it finally is over and all this kind of stuff. And the writing was really good on that. And I had to bring a lot of human type emotions to that to go through all that anguish. And then Mayuri, there have been a couple of times where they show some of his backstory, which is pretty pretty. He had a rough life and a lot of loss and things like that. You go back and start researching some of his stuff, and you'll see what I mean. Um, and there was a scene at the beginning of a movie version of Bleach that we did, and he's in a cell and he's just anguishing. And he doesn't have a lot of his makeup on and his silly hats and all that kind of stuff. It's one of the few times you get to see him looking normal for Mayuri. But he gives a little background and he goes through this emotional, just he's just dying. It's devastating for what he's dealing with, and he's in the depths. And then another character comes along and sees him and what he's going through and pulls him out of it and actually helps get him on his feet again. But that was a lot of emotion. Usually it's you're fighting or you're doing your bankais and your chants, or oh, and this last season I have a female. It's like a daughter, except that I, being a weird scientist kind of guy, I've created her, and she's like, I guess the equivalent of a late teenager, maybe 19, 20, something like that. And I have created her, and I'm in this huge, terrible fight, and I'm having trouble. And it looks like maybe this will be the one time that I don't pull it off. And she sacrifices herself to save me. And I get to show a lot of anguish and pain and sadness and loss when she has passed away, which reveals that he had a lot more feeling for her all along, even though he created her and stuff, than the the storyline has allowed me to express. Um, he doesn't show a lot of emotions, but in that one, I got a chance to really show a lot, and so that was really good. So I guess Fario from Magic Knights Ray Earth and Mayuri, as far as true emotion, I've had several times that I've been lucky enough that he's had really good storylines to really bring emotion forward, and it was good to do that.
Here's one thing I had to learn the hard way, Terrence. I had to learn, people need to stop paying attention to the main characters and look at all the other characters' stories. Even the villains have backstories too. Like,
Oh yeah.
how do you think, people like the Joker and Batman became who he is today? Like, he told his origins. I've seen so many video games and movies where Joker told. Oh, let's take okay, let's take Batman: The Killing Joke, 2016. He was trying to help his wife and his child pay off money and everything. Her wife died in a car accident and everything. So, but he still has to carry out the job that he, got himself into with these two thugs. So, Batman shows up and he falls into like this vat of chemical bath and Ace Chemicals. And that's how he got exposed to his skills and turned into the Joker. Of course, it was rated R, but hey, I was old enough to handle it. But each and every one of these characters you see, like, go check out some of the other character stories. Like, listen, I took the time out of my day to just pay attention, not just the main character, but also look at all the other supporting characters, side characters who also have back stories that are really deep to them. Like, even the villains, too. You see a lot of stuff and tragedies they go to, like, they go through like some kind of like difficulty situations and great. Now I'm thinking about another example. Here's another one. Batman the Animated Series, where they were judging Batman. They each all told their backstories, each of the villains, the Mad Hatter, Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, Poison Ivy, etc. You know, and when the judge was talking to Mad Hatter, you became the way you are because you couldn't have this girl, but she was already engaged to somebody else. But she also said, but you could have just respected her wishes instead, right? That tells like all that stuff just saying it builds character out of these people and understand the anguish and the tragedies they had to go to and also life losses as well. Just love stuff, you can't have this person, you can't have this and that. The list I could go on forever, but you see where I'm going with this. Like, don't just look at the main characters. Understand these villains and side characters and other supporting. They have strategies too that also need to be looked at to see what kind of people they turn into today.
Yeah. Well, we learn from adversity. We learn from failures. Learn from more from pain than we do from joyful things, because it's a lesson hard learned. It takes a toll on us. It requires a price to be paid. So if we deprive ourselves and keep ourselves safe from that, then we've limited what our growth can be, because that is part of life. You can't have all the good stuff and not have the bad stuff that also balances that out. And a lot of times, something bad that's happened causes you to have more joy when the opposite or a good happens. We experience it more because we know what it's like to not have had it. You know, um, you no villain thinks that he or she is the villain. The bad guy never thinks that they're the bad guy. They think that this is just the way they are, or the way they have to be, or the way the world has made them be. And instead of realizing that everybody's got that, you work hard, you pull yourself up, and you keep trying and you keep going and you try to make yourself better. Sometimes the villains have just given into the despair or given up, and they've turned to the easy way, the evil way or whatever. But no villain thinks that they are the villain. Any person who's playing a bad guy always plays it from the point of, I have something I'm trying to accomplish, and I feel that I've been cheated because I see other people that have accomplished it, or have been given accolades or attention, or got the girl or got the boy, or got the guy, whatever, or they have the position or the money or whatever, and I don't, and so I'm being cheated, or they stole it from me or whatever. um, you can either look at it like, okay, so what did they do that I haven't done, and I want to emulate that so I can work towards where they are, or the reverse, they took it from me. I don't have it because they had it. And so now I'm going to cause them to pay for it, or I'm going to do what I can to take it away from them. And your villain always has, or, I have to get money from my family, or my daughter, needs surgery, or just whatever. I'm trying to save my brother or my sister, or anything. A villain always has something they're trying to accomplish, and they don't feel like they're the villain for doing it, you know. And that's when you believe that they're a full rounded character.
Exactly. And
Funny.
sometimes, life is not just about remembering the good stuff, but also remembering the bad stuff as well.
Yep, yep. It's funny you would bring up the Joker, because I was the live action Joker after the movie with Nicholson and Keaton, when Warner Brothers bought the Six Flags parks, and we created the live Batman stunt show. I was the original
Really?
and MC. I created the voice that they played it for the Joker at all the parks and everything, and we did the live action shows, and every day, 7, 8 times a day.
Man. Oh, I wish I could have been there to see that.
Big deal back then, because we had the one of the Batmobiles from the actual movie, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then the times changed, and they changed the shows, and it became the Penguin and Catwoman, and then it kind of fizzled out. So, but it was a lot of fun there for a couple of years, 90 and 91. It showed my age.
Oh man. Well, I was born in 2000, so I couldn't. Ugh. I'm still a baby.
Yeah,
So it's okay though. Don't worry. I can't focus on what I didn't do. I can only focus on what I can do now.
that's right. You can't help it that there's a gap between our ages. Went to the shirt. There you go.
That is funny. Oh
Yeah.
my God. That just made my night tonight.
What else can I tell you, good sir?
Oh, sure thing. Let me get on. Let me get to it. Next up, let's see. Um, let's go into directory industry and insight. Now, compared from back then to now, how has the voice acting industry evolved since you first started, especially with anime and gaming becoming mainstream these days?
Oh, when we first started, myself and several others that are really established and stars, over the years, um, it was kind of looked down on for anime as cute little cartoons. Now, those of us that also did like Power Rangers and Digimon and some of that kind of stuff, all those things were cute, where they were for like kids and all that sort of thing. But one thing anime does and has developed into, instead of just being cute and little actiony, simple stories, they Bleach especially is a good one like that. But a lot of them in the last 10 years, they've become darker and more serious. Bleach used to have to be shown on Adult Swim channel because it's pretty, intense. The action was, and there were, a lot of dark versions of things, with things that happened with people. And my character has been very dark in how he's dealt with foes and things like that for a long time. The storylines have gotten much stronger. Um, and anime is much more accepted. It's not, you can be an anime fan and not have other people just think, what an idiot. People go, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Maybe they don't watch it, but they get it. Computer games, oh my gosh, look how popular and massive the industry has become. Um, when I did the 25th anniversary of the original Star Trek, the characters are still kind of blocky body walking around. And it was fun to work with a lot of the original cast, but the animatronics and just the screen and the visual was still stilted and blocky. And now you watch a computer game, and the cut scenes and sometimes the actual game itself is like a movie. Sometimes you can't really tell the difference. You know it's a game, but man, the graphics are so good. And the themes are much more adult than they were back then. Uh, you got when we first were doing a lot of stuff, voice actors were doing all the roles, and then came that time where some celebrities were asked to come in and do like a certain character or whatever, and the ones that did realized I can go in for less time than being on location somewhere. I can do this in 1 or 2 days. It's in the same location. It's fun. It could be right, 30 minutes an hour from where I live. In LA, that would be like 15 miles. Uh, but and you make it started. They started paying more. When we first started doing it, it didn't pay very much. And when it very first started, a lot of your computer games and anime were not union, and so they didn't pay hardly anything. And you got, it's not like movies or something where you get residuals and stuff every time they play. So you had to stick with it, and you had to really like doing it to develop a career in it and see where it could go. Um, and now it's there. You got celebrities all over the place that jump in and do roles, and they love it. Some of them used to say, "Oh, my grandkids like this, and so I got in there. My kids love this, so I had to do a role or whatever." And then the word got around, and all of a sudden, as they come in and they take the top tier roles, it pushes everybody else down. And sometimes, you used to do leads, and now a year later, you're coming in and you're doing strong supporting characters.
Mhm.
Um, so it changed the industry a lot like that for pure voiceover actors. But you can see why the companies would do that. If they can attach a star or two or three's name to their game, then of course they're going to sell more. So it's just the way it happened. Um, Auditions and getting things, it's never been easier to get content as far as auditions for casting directors now, because people can, you're right there. You could do a voiceover audition sitting right there where you are and send it in. You know, they have
Yeah.
some where you don't have to go through an agency. Um, some of the spots, the really big roles, they will send to the big agencies first, and sometimes the mid and lower level never even see those auditions. They send them straight to the top 5, 6, 8 casting. I mean, agencies, and they book everything out of those. But now you've got sites where mid and lower level jobs are being put out as breakdowns, and they accept submissions from kind of almost anywhere. So now you're not having to fight and just claw your way to finally getting something that makes an agent decide they want to represent you, and they will submit you. You can do it yourself, and you don't have to have access to a studio. You can do it in your own home. So it's never been easier that way. Never been as easy as it is now. But
Right.
part of that is there's so much coming in that it becomes harder for casting people to really dig through and look at everybody. So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
True, because
Like
like I
it,
said back then when technology was starting to come up, wasn't much to go around because we didn't have like a lot of cell phones like these today, because everything was done with message boards. But when we got into 2020, with COVID, most of you guys had to like I seen so many people doing a lot of home office at home work, lately because that's how like people like I was like, what's the point? Like, because now working at home is becoming a regular thing now, where it's like, what's the point of us going to the office to do these things? Because I know some of you guys in California, Texas would like to do like voiceovers like for like show at home and he just give it to the
yeah.
director. But any different, but different story, but under different circumstances, and you have to show up in person, then that's like a different standard.
Oh,
But
totally.
most have more access at home.
Yeah, it's totally different because there would be a studio, because LA has a lot of the major studios, and then you've got secondary studios, which a lot of the reason that they developed was because and each, like Warner Brothers, Universal, Disney, they only have so many sound stages. And so if they're working on a big project and all of them are booked that day, but they still need to get this other job over here done on this day, then they'll go to affiliated secondary level studios where they've worked with before, and they'll send their talent there and they can record there. And then it goes down to the next level and to the next level. And then in the last, I don't know, 15, maybe almost 20 years, but definitely that's 15 years. And definitely since COVID, like you said, people, if they had a closet, talent, if you were really trying to have a career, you'd make your closet into a studio. You'd make a place in your basement, or you'd turn you know, uh, I don't know, a corner of your one of your bedrooms into a little studio, and everybody had them in their house and all that kind of stuff because you can go right in. If they need a quick turnaround, you can go in and do it. Um, when I first started out, you didn't have any of that. And if you were with an agency, then you would go to that agent's office and they would have sound booths, or at least one, but usually a couple in their office, and in the one where the agents had dealt with the sound. And you would go in and you'd record your auditions there. So you had to travel to it, do it, and then travel from. And they'd send a big batch of them over, and they'd book people who were doing the same character around the same time on the same day if they could. And that's the batch that they would then submit. And if you were going to do it, you had to go to a studio location.
Right.
And now, you, like I say, you could be doing it right there. It's completely the opposite of how it used to be, which you, in some sense, is easier than ever before. But at the same time, half of the fun of doing it before was personally going to the studio or the agency and seeing other voiceover people, and you'd go in, you do yours, you come out. You didn't have to just leave. You could hang around and others come in, or some people that they go in, they do theirs, and they come out. You get to know each other, you get to see each other. There's nothing like going in to do an audition and some big star is going in right after you or whatever, and you're all mixing together because you're with the same agency. It was pretty cool, and it doesn't happen like that anymore.
Yeah, a lot has changed since the last 15 years. So it's well, yeah, I think like if people, like I said, I think it just depends on the show and
Yeah,
circumstances. Like if they want you to record a specific line, sure, you can do it at home when you want to now. But if they need you to be in person in the studio, then just go to the studio.
yeah.
This,
And
just
people would want to, your casting directors would want you to come in, and they would want to kind of coach you, because maybe the director uh, had sent over the breakdown, and he said, all right, on this role, I want them to do this and this and give them this note and this note. Well, instead of trying to tell everybody, they wait till you come in and they go, here are the notes for this role from the director or from the producer. And so they're hands on with you. If not, they're just having to email you something and hope you understand it.
right, right. Well, shoot. Ooh, again, I'm learning so much because lately with technology evolving, you can work at home or you can work in the office if they need you.
And the equipment's really good equipment's affordable compared to how it used to be, and much more available, a lot of variety. And the industry, voice people will talk with each other. Oh, I got this system. Oh, I tried this, man, it was great. Get this mic or get this filter or whatever. And so that's very helpful.
So yeah, interact with your fellow VAs and see what works.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we're getting close to the end, but before we continue, are you enjoying our discussion so far?
Why, yes, I am, Philip. Thank you very much for asking.
Listen, that's the question I always ask when we get close to the end or halfway when I
Yeah.
do these things.
Yeah.
If my guess ain't comfortable, I need to buckle up here.
Ah,
So I got it. Oh, let's see. Next one is going to be anime, gaming, and culture. Now, you've been part of iconic franchises like Dynasty Warriors. Now, how does voicing a character for a game differ from the anime?
Um, the anime, you've got to be a little more. If you think normally that you're going to act at a level, say between 1 and 5, you're going to do a 3 or maybe a 4. Well, that a lot of times in voiceover is not going to translate. I mean, in a like an anime or whatever, it's not going to translate as well. You got to get it up to that 5, almost to the point where it feels like you're giving more than you should, or like you're a little stronger than you should be, because they need that extra for anime, because all it is your voice, and it's not three-dimensional or whatever. Whereas in a computer game, especially now, they are literally like little movies, but they're more realistic, unless you're playing, a big over the top creature. But even those, they are more like little movies now. And the acting has to be pulled back a little bit, has to be a little more grounded in what we'd say real. Whereas anime, while you want realism, most of these characters and things that are happening are kind of fantastical and a little over the top, and things that in real life you're not going to run into. Whereas a lot of computer games like Red Dead Revolver, it's basically it's the West, so everybody needs to sound real, like there they are as a person saying it or whatever, or doing it, or Call of Duty, or just anything, even things like Skyrim or Halo or whatever. It's still grounded in as real as you can make those characters, so the audience feels that's a real thing. It's not like a cartoon or um, a caricature type. They want you to sound like you're really there, and so it's just nuances that are different in the two. Um, that's really about it, because the acting and the delivery has to ring true with both of them, but it's really important for computer games, if that makes sense.
Yo, that does. And listen, I played so many games. Like, hey, like, come on, like, hold on. This, like, listen, I got, sorry, I'm trying to like, because I got the Xbox, and I do have the Nintendo Switch as well.
There you go.
So I've been some of these games that I play, they have like very like similar to like TV shows, you got very emotional stories in there. Like I'll tell you one thing, Terrence, I did cry in one of my games that I was playing because I was like, oh, no, this can't be happening. But the video games do also, if you're playing the stories, if you're playing like story mode, because I've been playing a lot more stories these days, they also have those kind of life experiences as well. And some people think, oh, video games is just for fun and whatnot.
Not if they're well written. You have a lot of range of emotions and stuff in there too now.
Yes. Like when I was watching, when I just finished playing, finished playing a Shadow Sonic and Shadow Generations, when I just finished playing this game a few months ago, I got teary-eyed because Shadow had to lose Maria again.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was like, no, don't do that. Like he lost her in Sonic Adventure 2 when they were told his backstory. Now he has to go through that again.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I had a discussion about this with a few other people back in season one, saying, I know sometimes we all have things that we don't want to go through in life. Like he did not want to go through losing Maria again. He didn't want to go through that again. So
Yep. Yeah, yeah. And you find that you become more invested, care more about the storyline when they have things like that happen, that there's loss, or there's negative things that happen that the characters have to overcome or have to deal with, or one of your characters dies or is severely injured or whatever, and how does the other character deal with that? And if you care about either one of them, then you get really caught up in it. you know that's good
mhm,
story writing, and that's good acting then, if that makes that happen. Mostly it's good
it
story
does.
writing. you
It
know.
is. I've been playing like Watchdog series, Gears of War. Gears of War when Dominic Santiago died, that really broke my heart because he's been through a lot ever since they've done the Gears of War series. Like, because in Gears of War 2, he lost his wife due to the Locusts torturing her. And he had to euthanize her,
Yeah,
which is really tough for him to do. Even Marcus had to was really heartbroken that this happened. And it's really tough for Dom because in Gears of War 3, he's been through so much. Like he was ready to die. Like he lost so much, he didn't want to lose Marcus or his friends. And because truth be told, Terrence, the only reason why he did, because he just wanted to be with his wife. He wanted to be with his family, is
right.
what I gather after playing Gears of War 3.
Yeah.
He misses his family and he just wanted to be with his wife.
Yep. He just wants it over so he can go home. Yep. Yep. Well, like The Last of Us, all the loss of that, and that's a very realistic, very intense game too, though. But there's some of those that they're designed to just take your heart out and make you look at it and then put it back in and tear it out again later. You know.
Yep. And here's the thing, despite all that, I still play these games. I know it's fun, but I like the storytelling.
Yep. What I don't like is that some of the older games that were really good, um, the gaming systems advance over the years, and all of a sudden, the game you love and it still holds true for you, you can't play on the new systems because they're not compatible anymore. You can't do an Xbox 360 on an Xbox One half the time, or a PS2 can't be on a PS4 or whatever, PS5, because they're not compatible, and so you're stuck maintaining older systems while wanting to play with the abilities of the newer systems, but now you're having to buy games that only work one with the other. You can't mix and match them or whatever. So once that started, it became quite a bit interesting because then you had to decide what gaming system you were going to support, and then you have to constantly keep updating it, or else a lot of stuff becomes uh, what's the word? I don't know. Is made redundant or something. It's obsolete. That's old technology. We don't support that system anymore. We don't do XP or Windows 7. We only do Windows 10 or whatever. Or now the Wii, it does it differently. Now, for us as voiceover people, it's kind of cool because if you go and you work on a game, uh, we used to do the PC version and then the gaming systems, but now it's pretty much you'll do the basic story, but then you go back in and you'll do the PS version, which has a few extra things that the uh, the other one doesn't. And then you'll go in to do the Xbox system, which has more content still, but different content than the PS does. And so you're kind of getting paid for doing three games, but they go for three different systems. So it's like, okay, if you're going to play all of them, what are you going to do? Get all three systems? Go to a friend's house that's got the other system and play it there.
Yeah, that's the trick. I tried to do so many backwards compatible games. Like the only thing, because thing is, when they did other games, I was able to play the Left 4 Dead series on the Xbox, as well as all of the previous Gears of War games. But here's the thing: the only Sonic game that I can play off of the Xbox 360 on my Xbox Series X is Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I can't do
Oh,
Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. They don't do
yeah,
that. Oh,
yeah.
and they
Yeah.
also do Batman Arkham Origins as well. But
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah.
seriously, not Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. You couldn't go 2 more years back.
Yes. It's like, come on, build in redundancy like that. What do you do? You're just making us buy more stuff. But then again, that's good marketing on their part, I guess. Whatever.
One of these,
Whatever.
I know. One of these days, I'll play it.
Yeah.
Next one, and then we'll be at the finale. Now with anime like Bleach continuing to evolve, what's it like return to a character years later?
Depends on what the character was. we had a long period where we didn't do any more Bleach because of the problems with the creator and problems with not doing any more new content in Japan. And a lot of us thought, well, okay, that's it. It's done. That's all there's going to be. And then, a year or two ago, we get the word, oh, we're going to do some more. There's this whole new storyline. We're going to do 4 seasons. And here we go. And it's like, oh, okay. Now, some of it was interesting. We had a couple of people who couldn't come do their characters anymore because they were dead. So that kind of changes things, especially if you had a lot of dialogue or interaction with that character, with any of the characters you played. But you come back, and if the story writing is good, it's like when you see sequels in movies. It's all what's a storyline or what's a script, you know. And it's easy because you go and you watch what you did before and get that feeling again, get that flow again, or if it's a trick voice you do or something weird, then you get your voice in shape for that again, and you get in that mindset again. And then of course when you're doing the new content, every now and then they'll play voice ref or character ref in your headphones, so you go, oh, okay, yeah, that's the way I used to do that. But other than that, it's just like having a suit that's in your closet, and oh, now it's time for this suit, for the gray suit, or now it's time for the blue suit, or whatever. And so you go and you put that suit on, and maybe you have to have it taken in here or there, or let out. So you get your alterations done, and there you go. You're walking around in that suit again. Um, it's when they come back and they've reimagined it, but they want to use the same people doing those characters, and sometimes it goes against what you had established and how you'd played the role before, and it's kind of tough. Or you get a director who paid no attention to how you did the role the years before, and they're having you do things or wanting you to go ways that your character would never do like that. And so you have to work that out and come to an understanding or whatever. But usually it's not that hard if it was a good character. Um, Sometimes secondary characters you've done and you just you don't remember them, and so you have to go do your research and pull them back up and listen to them. But it's never been easier to find stuff than it is
Yeah.
now, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of doing your homework, you know, putting
Doing
the
your
time.
homework, research. See, this goes back research and homework stuff. It's okay. Listen. I tell you, Terrence, with these characters and everything, I'm trying to read more these days. Like I've been reading like a lot of stuff online and reading books, just trying to stay well informed.
Yeah, yep. Always try to stay as well rounded as possible. You
Hmm.
know a little bit about kind of almost everything, but you don't know everything about hardly anything. So, but that way,
Gotcha.
if you know a little bit about everything, you can talk to anybody about anything. You know,
Okay.
and you also it makes you a more well rounded person. You know,
It
learn,
does.
learn. Always learn. Anytime you can learn anything, learn.
Hey, like they said, knowledge is power.
That's right. That's right. Especially real knowledge and proper knowledge, Don't learn the wrong thing or else it's like, oh, that didn't work. Why
Mm,
not? Well, because you learned the wrong thing. Okay.
yeah, don't do that. I will not be doing that.
Don't do that. Don't you do it.
Well, we are at the finale now.
All right.
So let's do this. Now you've sustained a long career in competitive industry.
hmm
Now, what habits or mindset have kept you consistent?
Um, well, the first thing is always respect the work and the process. Um, if they have hired you or cast you to do a role, then first of all, that immediately puts you ahead of so many people who would give anything to do a role. So respect that, you know. Um, then go in and realize you're there doing something so many people would love to do. So don't take it for granted. Don't kind of blow it off. Don't kind of like mail it in. Don't mail it in at all. Um, Prepare, over prepare. Um, Always, whenever you're going to do anything, have at least a plan B in case what you came up with first, or like in an audition, what you first thought you would do, they go, well, we really like that, but three other people have come in and done that today. Do you have anything else? You don't want to ever hear from a director or a casting director or anything, what else do you have, or do you have anything else? And then you've not even thought about it. Okay, you just handicapped yourself. So always have a plan A and a plan B. Listen. Don't think you know everything when you go in, because you don't.
You know.
Be a team player. Be easy to get along with. When you, especially if you're recording, they're in the booth and you're in the sound, the mic recording booth. So there's glass between you. But when they, if they don't press the button, you don't hear what they say. But unless they turn yours off, they always hear anything and everything you're saying, whatever you do. So when they say, okay, we're going to listen back, hang on a second, don't sit there and be making noise and laughing or cutting up or whistling or whatever. They're trying to listen in the booth there. And if you're doing anything, or if two or three of you are in there and you're laughing and cutting up and telling jokes and stuff, now you are distracting from what they're trying to do on the other side of the glass. So be professionally courteous. Know what the whole process is. When you do your take, then stop. You know, uh, if there's a beat or a pause, then ask, would you like me to do anything else, or did that work, or whatever? If it didn't, they'll tell you. So go in, be professional, let them do their job. Don't overdo it. Don't try to be the funny person. Don't try to be cute, whatever. Go in and be a professional. Act like you've been there before, Learn what the process is. You go up to the mic, you stand there, and if the technician hasn't said before you actually go, you say to them, "Would you like a level, please?" You know, maybe they forgot about it, but that makes sure that you don't blast out the microphone, or you're not too soft. A professional will know that's going to need to be done. Um, you
That
know,
and learn to adapt to new things.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Always treat it almost like improv. It's always yes and. If they say, "Can we try so and so?" Even if you know it probably isn't going to work inside yourself, or maybe you just really don't want to do it that way, go ahead and give them at least one like that. So it's made them happy, because sometimes there's a director or somebody with input that's on a squawk box that's in a studio office somewhere. They're listening in, and they want to justify their name tag on the door. So they say, "Tell Philip to do this time with a French accent. Yeah, I want to see what that would work. Can you do that? I'd just like to hear that." And everybody knows that's a stupid thing, but you do it anyway at least once, so they have it, they're satisfied. And also a lot of times then they see that it doesn't work. um, don't get your mind set and be hard-headed. Be easy to work with. If they go a little long, don't go, "Well, let me call my agent and see if I can stay longer," or, "Oh, that'll be an additional charge, we're into the next hour." Nobody likes
No,
a person.
nobody
Shut.
likes this.
Yeah. "Oh, I need a break." No. You ask for a break when they take a break, and if they ask you if you need one and you don't, you say, "No, let's keep going." You know, you're there to work, appreciate it, and then you can enjoy it afterwards or in between when you actually take breaks. Oh, anyway, I'm doing a lot of technical stuff here, so
No.
just
That's great. I like it. I like it.
just go in and be a pro, be easy to work with, bring something to the project, but be open to listening what they also bring, because you're working as a team. So be part of a team instead of obstinate. Don't be a Pia.
Exactly.
Don't be a Pia. You know what a
Mm,
Pia is, right?
yeah. Pia.
PIA. Don't be a pain in the ass. There you go. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
Man, don't be an asshat.
that's right. You better. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, and then lastly, last question for aspiring voice actors listening to this, what's the one thing they should focus right now to truly stand out?
Um, are there any voices that you do that are what we call trick voices? Is there anything that a sound that you can do or a voice you can do? Like for me, um, uh, my thing was being able to sound like more than one voice. That's and if I warm up, I can do three of them. That's a trick voice. It's harmonizing your own voice. So that's something you can walk in and do that not hardly anybody else is either able to do or would want to do. So that's a thing that makes you stand out as being different. Or if you do creatures really well or something, or you do really evil thing or whatever, you're great at hero, whatever. Find out what your strengths are and then play to those, because those are the things that will make you stand out. Don't try to go in and do your version of two or three other people, because that's what they do. And then all you're doing is you're trying to sound like somebody else. Sound like you, because you're the only one that knows how to do you right. And so if you've got any kind of specialties or trick voices or whatever, um, know what you're selling. Because what are you doing? If it's on camera or if it's on voice, you are the product. You're selling yourself. That's what you are selling. Either you're selling your voice or you're selling your character or your face on camera. So know where you fit in. I'm not going to be big monster deep voice guys. If I warm up, I've got that range, but that's not my thing, you know. So know that going in. And if that's not what you do, don't go in there and try to do it against people that's their bread and butter. Know what you're selling. Know what your strong suits are and play to those. Don't ever make it harder for yourself to get a job or do a role than you have to. It's already going to be hard enough, you know. Um, Play with for voice actors especially. Play with your voice. Try accents. Try anything weird that comes up. Play with it all the time. Not only does it keep your muscle in shape, but sometimes you'll come up with a sound that's really different, and you'll go, "Oh, I haven't heard that anywhere out there, and I haven't done that before. That's something I can do." But learn who you are, learn what you do. If you're not good with emotion, then be good with action. You know, some people are really good with efforts and warfare and things like that. Well, they're not going to play the calm politician role. That's not their strong suit. Well, know that before you go in. Know what you're selling.
Gotta know what you're selling first. Like I said, research, test yourself out before you go in there. Do not, the worst thing you can do is come unprepared.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing that can happen.
Yep. Because you've just made it harder for yourself, and it's not. It's kind of like the casting people smell it. You can tell. You can see it. You can feel it. Yeah. And you stifle your own creativity. When you go in to do something, it's your party. Other people just happen to be there. If you look at it like that, this is my party, and these other people just happen to be there. Then you'll be able to relax more and be more in control of, if nothing else, all the choices that you could make. There's nothing worse than walking out later and going, "Oh man, I could have done so and so. Why didn't I think of that?" You don't want that. But leave your
No,
bags at the door and walk away, because as long as you've done the best you can do, that's all you control. Just go and do the best you can do. That's all you can do.
exactly. Well, I think that kind of wraps up. It's almost 12 a.m. for me. So
Oh
it's
my
been
Lord.
it's okay. Listen, I'm a night owl, so I'm gotten used to these late nights. But I think that wraps up everything. Did you enjoy our talk tonight?
Very much so. Yeah. Good job,
Thanks.
Philip.
Listen, I don't like I said, do not come unprepared. I bring receipts now.
Ooh, look at you. Yeah.
So if I did, then I wouldn't be here talking tonight.
Well, good job. Very good.